Well, hey guys, this new project I picked up. This is a 1974 Harley Davidson golf cart I picked up. Usually when I film this stuff, I have it on the trailer, but I had to take it off the trailer real quick because I had to use it real quick for something else. But yeah, usually I pull my stuff down there in the back of the field, but it had been raining, and so I had to take it off right here because I'm afraid I'd get stuck down there. But it's pretty complete. I have another golf cart that I bought a week ago. I picked this up Saturday. Today's Monday. Today's September 12th, 2022. So I picked this up Saturday. It's got the top, which, these were originally fabric tops. So, but it still has a frame. I mean, I could put a plastic top on there if I wanted to, but it's pretty complete. Just missing the seats. What's this thing up here? There's the engine. Here's the gas tank. Gas tank was taken out of it. The engine seems like it's pretty complete. Only thing that's missing on this engine that I've seen, which I'll explain that I do have something for it later, is, well, this is the hose going up the gas tank. Gas tank fits right here. Bolts here and here. And there's a little plate that goes on these 4 bolts on the carburetor, and then it turns with a bolt through for the air cleaner. So that's the only thing that I have noticed that is missing. It's got the solenoid, the rectifier, got the brake hardware, belt. How this thing works, it doesn't have it's 2-stroke. It doesn't have a transmission. And what you do, this is forward. You go over here and it changes the polarity start. It starts the 2-stroke backwards. It'll drive backwards. So, and the engine's not locked up. And the only thing I've seen I was fooling with the other day when I got off the trailer, and the brake cable was froze up. But they remake the brake cable there. What I plan on doing with it is I plan on building a that most of y'all that probably around my age that watch my videos or grew up around the character of Ernest P. Worrell, and some of y'all that as soon as I say that name you're thinking, oh, I know what he's going to do now. I plan on building a golf cart Camp Kiki, which is the Camp Kiki, the film Ernest Goes to Camp. The golf cart that he drives at the beginning, and then it takes off and it drives by itself throughout the whole movie. You see it just go by. And then at the end they use it, they put all that gas and cocktails and stuff in there to blow that dozer up. So that's what I plan on doing with it. Shut this. But I do have another one, I'll show it here in a minute, that I bought. It's a little bit less complete, but it does. So this is a steering wheel model. The other one that I have is a tiller model, like in the Ernest Goes to Camp. But I do have some plans. Like the body on that one, seems like it's a little bit better shape than this one. So this is the body that I'll cut up, because in Ernest Goes to Camp, it's whacked off right here, and then it curves down here at the bottom just a little bit. And they got some plywood and some like 3/4 tube. It looks like 3/4 in the movie, and some expanded metal. This is Camp Kiki here. And then let me open this back up here. If you see this metal plate, that's right here, this metal plate all the way across. See, some models had a gas tank in the back. They had the gas tank back here and the battery set up here. And that's why that little opening is there, for where you could fill it up, because you could fill it up. Well, technically that's the only way you could fill it up with the gas tanks in the back, because there's no way you can get to it. You had to fill it up with it shut. So If you see this metal back right here, if you look, I'll probably post a picture here of the one in Ernest Goes To Camp. You'll see this metal plate. I'll probably circle it in the picture. And it had to have this plate. So technically, this whole piece, as you can see, this frame right here, what I'll probably end up doing is, obviously when I whack it off on the back, I'll have plywood, and I'll just cut plywood out that fit inside this and run screws in here. It's similar how they built it, and just reuse this. This is all loose because they took the seats out, and all this bolted to the seats went right here, and this in here. That's why all this is loose, because it's unbolted from the seats. That'll help kind of build the frame just a little bit. And obviously I'll have to attach this to the plywood that goes up here, because that's just reinforcement for the fiberglass back here. But yeah, you can see this plate in Ernest. You can actually see these holes where this is bolted to the fiberglass, and you can actually see these holes in it, and that's what that is. And they just got the plywood, so it ends about right here. That plate, the plywood just sits right on top of it for the bed. All right, shut this, and then we'll walk down to the other one that I have, and I'll use parts off it to complete. All right, here's the other one that I bought. I bought it a week ago. I mean, they're both about the same shape, but they are what I consider unmolested, because both of them have still the original hubcaps. None of the hubcaps are missing in the other one. And see, it has a tiller handle. And I'm gonna tell you why this one, see, it's got the hubcaps. It's a little bent here, but I plan on using most of everything on the other one. Now I'm gonna tell you why this one's a little bit more critical. Now here's that piece I was talking about that I'm missing. So this part right here bolts on that piece, and then here's the air filter. This goes on top of this. So yeah, so these now these are spare parts. I went and picked this one up. Here's the ones that have the gas tank in the back. This is the kind of gas tank they use, but neither one of these is a rear gas tank model. And let me set some of this down. Let me put you on pause for a minute. All right, I had to empty some of this stuff out. But yeah, there's the air filter. I got some brake hardware, rear gas tank, and a muffler. And let me raise this up. But only about this one, no engine. No engine whatsoever. I'm even got the brake hardware missing. The generator is there. And it's just like the other one. The gas tank goes here, battery in the back. But you notice there is no metal plate in the back. See, because the one in Ernest Goes To Camp used. See, some of them had a plate in the back, some of them didn't. And as you can tell, they put extra fiberglass, and they glassed it in for support, because you know, over time this would just break off. So some models had it, some didn't, and I have to have that piece. So there's some benefits in this one right here, and there's some benefits in the other one. I think this one right here has the body's in a little bit better shape, and what I plan on doing is, all right, when I do the Ernest, I'm going to use the body on the other one. I'm going to use, all this right here will be for this front right here, because all this will come off. When I understand, you drill these pop rivets out right here. You unbolt this. So what I plan on doing is using this front for the Ernest mobile, using the body on the other one for the Ernest mobile, but I'm going to use this I'm gonna build one golf cart, but I'm gonna make it to where, you know, they have what they call a Ernest Day at Montgomery Bell State Park. It's kind of northwest of Nashville, and I plan on having it for that up there. We plan on going up there and camping a night or two, and Ernest Day is just celebrating Ernest, and that's where they shot Ernest Goes To Camp. So, but I want to be able to turn it back into a regular golf cart. Pretty much looks like that one does with the top on it. But I plan on using this body for a regular golf cart and using the front on the other one as a regular golf cart, kind of backwards. This will be for the Ernest Mobile, all this, with a tiller handle. And then this body right here will be for a regular golf cart. Because all you gotta do is just, I'm gonna probably put some kind of a pin or something in there with a clip. You can just pull them pins out, take this off, swap bodies out, all that'll be together. And another thing is, these were critical. These plates and this back right here, because I could buy reproduction seats that'll bolt right onto this right here. Because the seats in Ernest Goes To Camp were original seats. And it's hard to find these things with original seats to them. Hard to find them. People usually will put boat seats in them. So, but you have to have that back for it, that little plate there. See, the other one's missing it completely, but it has it. So, tiller, the backings for it, and it'll be able to build 2 different golf carts with it. Now, what I'm gonna do with that other one is I plan on getting it running first. Just pumping the tires up, maybe putting some slime in the tires, just do the bare minimum to get it running good. Just spend the least amount of money I possibly can to get it running good. Clean it up with pressure washer, and then once I get it running good, then I'll make it the next step of start cutting the body up and building the Ernest Mobile Camp Kiki version. So, yeah, guys. Well, it'll probably be a couple months before I start filming with them, but so we'll get back when we get ready to start working on them. Alright, first thing I'm going to do to this thing is I'm going to try to get this tire to be unbroke down. This tire on the other side, it's still intact. It's not, the bead's still intact. I think the front one's the same way. So I'm going to try to get care. Might want to take it on, find out here. The back is still intact on the bead part. Goes. All right. There's that one. The other side is bead on it, still intact. Now they'll probably, before I work on it again, they'll probably go back flat and they should still. This one up. front one is collapsed. That's gonna be a pain. You'll get a flathead screwdriver and pull that thing off. I'll be back in a second. I'll move the camera over here. That's not a wasp nest. No longer used. Pop that one so I can get to this cap there. Let me get the jack up here. Sometimes that stuff will take that air, sometimes it won't. Jack back there. Ooh, that thing barely found me there. Now this side, the bead's still. Can't go. Put it on top of this gas tank. Doesn't want to sit flush up over that for some reason. It doesn't want to sit flush. Anything else wants to put you on pause. Alright, I got the front one. I had to take the ratchet strap and go around and ratchet it real tight, and then finally got it stuck taking air. This one broke down on this side. The other side was good. Inside of this one was good. They're all took air, so they'll probably be flat, but hopefully they won't break back down. I don't have to worry about fooling with that again. I can just go here and pump it up. I'm just trying to get them I ain't gonna put new tires because the Ernest cart had a regular golf cart tire on the front, like it's on there now, and it had the lawnmower type tires, the little checkered that goes like this on the back, and I'll put those tires on there like we're supposed to. And I don't know which one. Hopefully it's front one I can just slime and not have to worry about messing with it. Just leave it, clean it up. So they all took care. I don't know how long they'll hold for. Don't know. Gonna roll probably pretty easy now. Oh yeah. Gotta roll this thing now. Let me roll it over here out from under this tree a minute. Alright. Kind of push it out from under that tree there and get a better look at it. All the tires looks pretty good. Don't look too bad with all the tires pumped up on it. Yeah. So, yeah. Now, let's see. Back in here. Bring this thing all the way back now. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it when I first doing the brake cables froze up on it. Choke cables froze up on it. It's kind of wanting to work. Choke cable's fine. It's just it pulls it tight, but must be loose up here because I haven't. Well, it's got a spring on it, but it's just super tight. So, choke close. Yeah, the choke cable's kind of working. Wouldn't hurt to. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to save as much money as I can on this thing. Well, the choke cable is working. I thought it was originally froze. So what I may do is like take it, hang it from the tree, spray WD-40 in there once a day and help it. Now the brake cable is definitely froze. I can free that. I got this screwdriver over there. And the wiring is in pretty good shape if you really look at it. Because I couldn't figure out, so where's the gas tank float wire? It's right here. It goes on that little nut with the float. Get a hammer. Alright. Hammer here. Bring this thing up a little bit. Probably roll a lot easier now. Yeah. Okay, the cable, it pulled, but it wouldn't release. So the cable is kind of halfway working, so that's good. It's not completely froze up, but I will, well, I'll take the cable out and hang it, spray WD-40 in there until it starts coming out the other end. But it doesn't want to retract. So either the brake hardware is tight. Brake shoes are kind of pitiful too. funny is the guy said it was running. I can't say this thing well. It probably run 30 years ago, and it run. There's too much on it. Like too much rust on the brake hardware. The nuts that are on this piece is missing on the end here. It's way too much. Too much missing. Yeah. Well, the brake, so like, cable might be salvageable. It just won't release it. Yeah. Yeah, let me grab that gas tank. It went right here, like this. And then it had this, probably had a fuel filter and another hose on it. Yeah, and then this wire. And here. Barely reaches, I guess it goes up under all this. Right there for the gas gauge. I'm tempted to just go get a battery stick in there and see what it'll do. Let's do that. I'm gonna take my battery out of my jet boat. Bring it over here. And we'll see what it does. I'm so curious. Set this thing in here and see. I've got the key switch out of it, but it's still in there. It's just hanging on the inside. They got this, I guess you might have seen it. I was showing it earlier. Alright, negative. Yeah, I need to move. Oh, that's in there perfect. Well, dang it. Let's reach back here, maybe. Let's put it back here. Got a negative cable ain't long enough. I'll have to get a negative cable for it. Alright. Let me see if I can bypass the switch. See what it'll do. Yeah, it's just like right there. I can bypass it with one of these cables. I heard it sound like a door. say on there on nuts. Get dark on it. Turn it over. Talking pretty good over here. Turn it over. Trying to start it. So either that switch is bad or something. Alright. Reverse. I don't remember what it was. Turns over. So that switch is the bad. There was a connection on there. I'll check your spark on another day. It's kind of getting dark out here. Guys, close it down for today. That's what I was just going to do. We're supposed to see if it'll turn. If the starter generator will turn it over, and it does. It's just that switch is bad right here. It's supposed to turn it on. And that's why I wouldn't do nothing when I moved this way. It got connection. So usually if I turn one way, I'll turn the other. So I'm gonna toss her down for today, and we'll get back at it another one. All right, a couple days later, guys, I've been back working on it. His tires went flat, front tires went flat. This one's still holding air on this side. So this is actually holding air, but Now this one didn't break back down, but it went back flat, but it can be pumped back up. And this one broke back down, so I may put slime in this one in the front tire, but I'm gonna wait till I get it running and driving before I do it for obvious reasons, because you have to, it's got to turn before you slime it. I've been doing some more pedaling with it, and remember when I fooled with that switch right there, it started turning. Well, come to find out that this switch works, but push the. Alright, so this is your switch. So when this lets off, it starts turning. So it works. It just needs to be adjusted. See, it's not going all the way in. Touch it. So this needs to be adjusted a little bit, and it works. I fooled with it. It works in both directions. So what I did is I pushed that out my foot and pushed that in, and then swapped it, and it'll go in reverse and forward. So that's all working so far. I need to check on compression and spark. But take a minute, man. I love fooling this. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned in the early part of my video, my daddy had one of these. It was all blue, and I don't remember what year it was, but it had a Columbia motor. So this is a Harley motor. It had a Columbia motor, which is built similar, except it's got like a plastic shroud that comes over it, and it doesn't have a round head. It's got a flat head on it, but it's almost built identical. It's got a different carburetor on it, but I mean, look how easy this thing is to work on. I mean, carburetor's right there, starter generator, your points is right here. You take these three little bolts off, these three little bolts, and your points is in there. I mean, even the Easy Goes from the 70s and 80s that were built, like, you know, that were two strokes, that had no transmission, it was going for, you know, they were, you know, you switch polarity and they'd go in reverse, start the engine in reverse, but they were still under the seat, and you still had just, you know, like a normal golf cart. Was just this whole thing comes up. It's just so easy to work on. Everything's there. I mean, you can completely rebuild this thing. Just a piece of cake to work on. Well, he ended up. I don't know if I didn't tell him. I'll repeat the story on what happened to his. His is a steering wheel model, just like this one, and he was pulling the trailer. He's got a little 4x8 trailer with those little bitty skinny tires, and he was pulling it behind his fifth wheel, and it hit a culvert, and it started fishtailing, and it come off the hitch and hit the guardrail, and the golf cart came off the guardrail, or come off the trailer, broke the axles off, everything. It destroyed it. And it was, man, we done a lot of work to that thing, man. I rebuilt the motor, everything. I mean, it run and drove, but it just needed a lot of work done to it. But I love that thing. But yeah, let me go get some stuff to check. I'm gonna get some tools to adjust this, and then to figure out the compression and see if it's got spark or stuff like that. All right, we're gonna do a little more work to this thing today. Come to find out, when I messed with that switch right there, you know, it started just turning. I didn't get up close to it to see it, but it just started turning. And come to find out, I kind of fooled with it there a little bit before I've got this camera going. And this is your switch right here. And the switch works. You hit that switch and it'll cut off. So I'm trying to adjust it a little bit. It's a little rusty. You hear the clicks? Just a little more right now. There. Strip. That'll work until try some things out here. I might do some more work for that. Things bent just a little bit. Like it's got a brand new plug in it. Huh. Get a little closer here. My phone will. But yeah, if you look. Like a brand new plug. Focus. Yeah, so spray a little WD-40 in there. Lube it up just a little bit. Even though it's not locked up. But I got the compression tester here. Man, I'm gonna try to get it run even without. That's one thing about these 2 strokes. You know, like a 4-stroke, something like that. You know, like you test it and got no compression or super low compression. It's like, oh, the valve's stuck open. A 2-stroke, not so much. You get low compression, there's no, you know, like, oh, maybe just the valve, maybe, you know, maybe the valve, maybe the valve. There is no valves. But when you turn it on with my hand, it don't seem too promising. All right, let's put that over here. Battery cable on. Let's see what it's got. About 60. That's 2 swapped. I mean, I don't know. They may run on 60. I don't know. See if it's got any spark. Might have to put a new plug wire on this thing. little spark. We're gonna get some fuel and we'll get some fuel and we'll squirt it in that hole a little bit. And I went and got me a little, it's mixed, don't look like it's mixed, but it's mixed a little bit. I don't know if I can get any in there or not. No, that ain't gonna work. This might work before it in the edge of it there. I don't really have proper stuff to work on some of this stuff with. Probably need some kind of a funnel, I guess. I don't know. I was just taking it, pouring it in the end of this. Pouring it in there. Get a little more compression. It don't turn over very fast. I know that battery is not in tip-top shape. So. Thing turns over fast when the plug's out of it, you know, when I had it. Yeah, been piddling around with this thing a little bit. I'm mostly just playing around with it. I got the carburetor off, sitting right here. Problem is I can't get this shaft loose. Shaft right here, I can't get it loose. So I had to take the carburetor off. You know, usually it's easier to just take the whole, you know, take these two nuts off, slide. This one was frozen, but I got this one freed up. But this one is froze on there, and I cannot get it to come off. I've kind of been playing around with it a little bit. You know, you seen a little bit earlier, I was trying the compression, and it showed 60. And I've been pouring a little lube down in there, a little, I poured some gas up in there, I poured gas down in there. I kind of cleaned the points a little bit. I can't get that. See, there's the points right there, as you can see. I can't get that bottom nut loose. I don't have I think it's 5/16. Can't get it loose, so I was able to take the 2 top ones and slide it over. And it still had spark a little bit, but I kind of cleaned the points. You can get to the point, clean them a little bit, and it's really got good spark on it, but it will not hit a lick. You know, you pour a little gas, take the plug out, pour a little gas down in there, just a little bit. I've got this, I put a little oil. It don't look like it's mixed, but I got a little bit of oil mixed in with it, and it will not hit a lick. And the compression is barely coming above 60. So I don't know if 60 is too low for it to, it's too low of a compression for it to run. But I mean, it turns over really, really well with the plug out of it. But anyway, I put that plug in there, just like pop, 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 pop. I mean, and it's got a good battery in it. Yeah, I can't get that. I'm just doing that to keep it cut off. Yeah, I mean, so, I'm gonna do some more little research here. Far as, even with all this off right here, it should, you pour a little gas in and it should do something. It should hit, should fire, do something. But, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, what I did is like I said, I cleaned the points, and it just really, the spark is just as bright. It's a lot brighter than it was because I cleaned the points on a little more. And it should just hit. It should do something, but it's not. So later on the night, once I'm done playing around, and I'm just kind of really playing around with it now. Once I get done, I go in the house and I'm gonna do a little research on far as what's too low of compression. Like, is 60 too low for it to even, like, well, when it gets down to 60 psi, it ain't even gonna run. It don't matter what you do. If you got good, it don't matter. It ain't got no compression for it to run. And, sometimes the compression can be low enough to where it won't run. So we'll see. I was actually just trying to see if I can get it to hit, run, do something. But yeah. All right. That's it for right now. I'll do some research, and if that's 60, I'll just end up, I won't be able to do nothing until I think they don't make the cylinder anymore. You used to buy a cylinder, the piston, rings, and everything. Now, I think you can buy the piston and rings, but you can't buy a cylinder anymore. So technically, I'd have to use that cylinder, either bore it out, hone it, and then put a new piston and rings in there, which I hope it's standard, and I can just I can hone it out and put new rings. The rings are just shot, I can just put new piston and rings and then hone it out and be good to go. So, this guy I bought it off of, he claimed it's run before, but there is no way. There is no way this thing has run before. If it has, it's been 40 years ago. Because if you look at the rust and stuff on that. Because I had this off a little bit earlier, and there is so much rust and pitting on there. It's been sitting for, I think what happened is the guy, because the gas tank was off of it, he had it in the garage. Guy took the gas tank off. I bought it from the guy's son. The father passed away. I guess he was fixing to start working. He passed away. Son didn't care nothing about it, sold it. And I think what happened is he took the gas tank off, cleaned it out, and then he started taking those. That piece was probably lost, or the guy can't find it or what. Because he told me if he found that piece on the outside, he would mail it to me. I showed him a picture of one. So the guy took that piece off, and both of those shafts on the left side here were froze up. He couldn't get them off. These two on the right he could, and he just said the heck with it. Probably stopped working on it and then died. But yeah, that bottom one, I can't get it off. I might try to put a pipe or something, wrench on it, see if I can get it to turn and try to get it to move a little bit or something. But we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna do a little research on that, as far as the, what's considered too low for it to run. And that's low. At 90 to 100, I think would probably, you pour gas in there and it take off, but it won't. I mean, it's not even pop or nothing. So, all right, well, I'll catch you on the next one. I did some more piddling around here. I guess I should be filming when I work on it. But I did get it to start and run in reverse, not in forward. Forward just a little bit, but I was really pouring the fuel down the spark plug hole and kind of got it to run. But you know, that's 60 psi. So I thought, I'm gonna pull the head off of it, see where we're at, see how bad the piston walls is. And I think I discovered a little something before I roll the piston back here. Well, there's no play whatsoever. Take it back. Walls don't look too bad. I don't feel no grooves in them. It actually looks pretty good. Well, if you look at the head here, something's missing. And there's nothing here, there's nothing here, there's nothing laying on the ground. It doesn't have a head gasket on it. Somebody had just put, they must have got scraped by years ago, but you see the orange? Somebody just put gasket material on there. You can see some of it where it's squashed out. But that's what somebody's done on it. And I guess they've been able to scrape by on it, but there's no head gasket. Believe it or not. Yeah, I mean, the piston, you know, when I pulled it and I started looking, I'm like, do these come with it? And I started looking them up, and yeah, they're supposed to have a head gasket with it, so I'm gonna start there. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm just gonna buy a new head gasket. I may, if they're cheap enough, I may go ahead and buy a set of piston rings and buy the head gasket at the same time. And if the head gasket fixes it, I'll return the piston ring, because I'd hate to, oh, the head gasket didn't fix it, I gotta have piston rings, and then I gotta turn around and wait another week or week and a half for them. Carburetor, I ain't decided yet on the carburetor as far as to rebuild this one, or I mean, it's got a great fire. I may go ahead and buy a new condenser for it. Got to get that cover off properly. Go from there. I mean, so what I may do is, once I do all that, which I'll try to film, is I may put the gas tank back in there, fuel line, carburetor. I ain't figured out if that bracket I've got is broke. I don't know if I'll bolt that on there, or I'll just put some washers gap in there and get it in there real tight. Either bolt a new carburetor on there. I always just like to buy a carburetor. And the main reason why is the fact that if I just rebuild this one, I'd use the parts off it to rebuild this one, you know, and I may clean it anyways. It's even clogged. You can see the blame clogged up in there. But yeah, I mean, somebody must have just, I don't know, somebody took it off, or I'm talking about the head gasket, took it off, or what they done. So the switch, I got to figure out the switch there. I tightened it up, but it won't, I don't know, to figure that out. So yeah, I ain't worried about brakes. And then what I'll do is, if I get it running and driving, I'll slime this tire and I'll slime this tire up here, and then you can't really slime them until you can be able to drive it. So, but yeah, I may do that. I think I'll fill that tank up and everything else. Put a fuel line on it. Kind of go from there. I may buy a new points and condenser. I ain't gonna buy no belt or nothing for it. I mean, I ought to buy a new belt. I mean, I ought to leave this belt alone and go ahead and buy a new belt up there for that, because that thing is tattered. I mean, I'm surprised they just flew apart. Yep. So I'm pretty much done with it until I get that gasket in here. It'll be another couple weeks because I'm thinking to go out of town next weekend. So, yep. We'll get back to it when I get the parts in.